Tenet is back in theaters for 1 week starting today, and you can go watch it in 70mm or IMAX 70mm if you're one of the lucky people living in a place which has easy access to IMAX 70mm. For my money's worth, I got to see it in standard 70 tonight. I was very excited to see it in that format because I hadn't to this date. And while this is a movie that I have talked about on the channel before, I did want to revisit it, and I think my opinion on it has changed over time enough that it gives me the opportunity to want to revisit it. Quick note before I go on, I should show you, we got handed this on the way out from the theater, it's a 70mm reel. It's with a few shots of the movie. It even says I saw it on 70mm. That's nice. I do like this. I will cherish this. So thank you so much to the theater for giving us that. That is a really, really cool thing. If you guys get this, let me know in the comments. You know, I would love to know that you guys got a hand of that too. I feel that one of the best things about doing videos like this one is that it also debunks something which I feel like with film criticism or analysis in general is this thing that is forgotten, that opinions are not always final. You can watch a movie down the line and you might enjoy it more than you did the first time, or less so, depending on how that goes. And that's happened with me before. There are movies that on this channel I have enjoyed a lot before, and then on retrospective viewings I was like, I don't know. But then there are movies that I didn't enjoy as much and I've come to really, really like in the time since. I find that that's a beautiful thing about film in general, and Tenet is one of those movies that while I did enjoy the first time around, I think that it has just grown in estimation for me. And getting to see that in a packed theater tonight with a lot of people, not having to worry about the peak of the pandemic like the first run it had, I was glad to just have a good time once again, and it really did reiterate that I have come to really like this movie. In fact, I would say that I love this movie at this point. Now granted, I don't think it's Nolan's finest movie by any means. I think it does have a few issues, but my issues have really dissipated when it comes to this. One of the things that I really have come to appreciate even more as I watched it is that, especially in that first half, because up until a certain point, the movie doesn't really try to hold your hand as things happen, which is something that I think is the mark of a very confident director who trusts the audience. And I do appreciate that. I feel that Nolan has been very good when it comes to that kind of stuff. It's not necessarily trying to explain to you what's going on, even as the movie is explaining things to you. Like if you watch Inception or Interstellar or Tenet, the dialogue that's in them is very descriptive. And it's characters telling you a lot about stuff. It's exposition. But the way the exposition is done is that it doesn't feel like you're being talked down to. At least I don't think so. I feel like it's information, but it's also so interesting and intriguing that you are sort of going along on the journey and you don't sort of feel like you're getting bogged down in the details. And as the film is progressing, especially that first half, so many sequences take place that don't make cohesive sense at first, almost deliberately so. Because when the second half of the movie kicks in, especially with the red room, blue room sequence, and Ives, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, comes in, talking to the protagonist, John David Washington, and Neil, Robert Pattinson, I feel like certain things suddenly start to make more sense. You're getting descriptions on what is a temporal pincer movement, the idea of how things move forwards and backwards, and eventually becoming inverted, and you running through sequences again that have already happened, which leads to one of my favorite sequences in a Christopher Nolan movie, I will say this, is the sequence where you find out that the protagonist is fighting himself in the airport. That was a really, really great moment. The Freeport, actually, my bad. In the first run of that scene, you're wondering, okay, what the hell is going on? And then when you find out that it's him fighting himself, it's just really, really awesome. It also leads to one of the best soundtrack portions of the movie, some of which I would love to play, but I'm pretty sure I am risking copyright just by those first 8 seconds in the intro. I love that score, by the way. Still one of the best scores of the last 4 or 5 years that I've heard. I listen to it so often. Either it's on the disc or either it's on my phone on like Spotify and stuff like that. I love every minute of that musical score. And while I did say that I don't think this is Nolan's best movie, some of the best moments in a Nolan movie, some of them are in here. I already mentioned the Freeport fight. The other one is the building moment. I think visually this is one of my favorites in a Nolan film. The reverse and then actual explosion of it, that was awesome. The opening scene, I think this is easily my favorite opening of a Nolan movie, and that's saying something, considering you have the opening of The Dark Knight, Dark Knight Rises, and when you see those moments, you go, wow, this really is something incredibly next level. Even Dunkirk had that amazing scene, which was really the stretcher when they're trying to run with it. That was awesome. But the whole sequence over here, and it's just incredibly invigorating. Every single time you watch it, you just feel like running, or hopefully not driving. If you're driving to that, don't drive. Or the reverse car chase that takes place with the car going after them, that was awesome as well. Really some standout moments in this movie across the board. Some really great sequences. Crashing a 747 into a building, there are some things that you could do with CGI, but the fact that that was real is crazy. Like that actually happened. And celluloid, as you saw over here, that's preserved on film. So that's pretty cool. I think everybody in the film is very good. John David Washington as the protagonist, I still think is really great, as is Robert Pattinson as Neil. Kat, played by Elizabeth Debicki, was also very good. Kenneth Branagh as Sator, this guy is so over the top, and yet, you can't help but feel like he's having the time of his life doing this role. And sometimes you just have to respect that. As silly and bizarre as you might think it is, it's really remarkable stuff. I still think the editing is top notch for this movie, which is again important because so much is happening front and back when it comes to what's, going down over here. When, things are going forward and reversed in the same shot or even in the same sequence, to be able to maintain that narrative cohesion is very, very tough. And Jennifer Lim, who has done a really good job with, this movie and also Oppenheimer, which she's currently Oscar nominated for, I think it's absolutely remarkable. And I do have to give major props to that. I realize the sound design is a polarizing aspect for some people, and I totally get that. This is a very loud movie, and there are times where music and sound overpower the dialogue and you can't hear some moments. And that does happen.
No friends at dusk, huh? You'll do. Get into the rally for me. Straight in. Off the tunnel. Terminal. From their private planes.
I don't know if the benefit of watching it with subtitles many times has helped in the theater experience tonight, so that I knew exactly what everybody was saying. That could be the case, but I also think that everybody that I was watching it with, for the most part, seemed to understand perfectly what was being said, and that's totally fine as well. Like the group next to me, it was this bunch of girls, they seemed to be pretty cool with it, so I can only speak from personal experience. If you are somebody who watched the movie and had a problem with that, I am sorry. If I sound like I'm making a defense for like something over here, I'm not. I'm not trying to just, sour blind praise over this movie. I've seen this movie now 6 times. I think that the amount of times that I've seen it, the more I watch it, the more I've come to just appreciate it. And at the point that I am now, I just have a great time watching it in general. I don't think it's his best movie, but I would gladly rewatch this at any given opportunity. I just have so much fun watching Tenet. And it has become one of my go-to Nolan films, just for the fun of it. And sometimes you should just be able to do that. You don't always have to make a best picture level masterpiece every single time. Sometimes you just want to have fun. And so you make a movie which is like this. Polarizing sound design, booming score and all. I'm gonna give Tenet a revised rating of a 9 out of 10. If you guys get a chance to go see it in theaters this week, I do recommend going. I know a lot of people missed out on that because of the pandemic, so now is your chance to do so, and I hope that works out for you guys. Guys, thank you very much for watching as per usual. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really did enjoy revisiting the movie and getting to share some more thoughts again with you guys. As always, if you like this, please do subscribe, and I will see you guys at the movies.